no choice, really, unless somebody else wants to do it.
Good evening, everyone. Could we please rise for the prayer to begin the meeting? Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for a direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. We please salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilor Kennedy?
Here.
Councilor Leahy? Councilor Martin?
Here.
Councilor Mercia?
Here,
Councilor Milanazzo?
Here.
Councilor Rourke? Here. Councilor Samaras?
Here.
Councilor Belanger?
Here.
Mayor Elliott?
Here.
One absent.
8 present, 1 absent. First item on the agenda on the mayor's
it's me.
business. Oh, I'm sorry, Council Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence and darkened chamber for George Getsemis, the son of Greek immigrants. George was born and educated in Lowell. Mr. Getsemis served in the United States Air Force for 30 years during World War II, Korea, and the Vietnam era, achieving the rank of Chief Master Sergeant. Following the end of World War II, George served under the command of the United States General Van Fleet, who was instrumental in the outcome of the Greek Civil War. The military mission was to provide advice to the Greek government and 250 military advisors, as well as administer $400 million in military aid in order to aid Greece in their Greece in their independence. Upon his retirement from the Air Force, Mr. Getsemis served as Civil Defense Director for the city of Lowell. Mr. Getsemis was a master mason of the Pentucket Lodge in Lowell, a member of the Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church, Greek American Veterans, a former member of the Board of Trustees of the Lowell Memorial Auditorium, a member of the Pan-Macedonian Association, and a member of the Lowell Lodge of Elks. He also served on the Lowell Veterans Council and various other boards and committees. Mr. Getsemis is survived by his wife, Catherine Getsemis, as well as his extended family and many dear friends. He was predeceased in death by his first wife, Helen Getsemis, his daughter Maria, and his son Demetrius. There is not enough time in a day to say all the remarkable things this gentleman had achieved. We offer our sympathy to his family, relatives, and many friends. He will be truly missed. And I'd also like to offer a moment of silence and darkened chamber for Angelina Kosmarski, beloved wife for 45 years to John Kosmarski, who passed away in '94. She was grateful and proud of the square named in honor of her at the corner of Varnum Avenue and Old Ferry Road in Pawtucketville. Angelina was a communicant of St. Rita's Church for more than 60 years. Angelina and her husband, John, founded the Pawtucketville Citizens Council, where she was active for many years, and in 2013, she was honored with an award at a dinner in gratitude for their service to the council. She is survived by her children, Dr. Mary Ann Kosmarski, Phyllis Kosmarski, and granddaughter Kim. And as Deb Forgione, chairman of the Pawtucketville Citizen Council, said, along with their members, that Angelina was loved by all. Heaven surely received a beautiful angel. She will be missed for her wisdom, common sense, her wonderful sense of humor, straightforward reasoning, and a kind and gentle heart. Our sympathy to the family, relatives, Pawtucketville Citizen Council, and her many friends. I would also like to offer a moment of silence to all of those who have died since our last meeting. May you all rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Caduel. Councilor Milonazo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too would like to offer a moment of silence and darkened chambers for Rosemary Tavares, who passed away this past Friday. Some of us actually worked with her husband, Jack Tavares, who was a CD director here in the city, and Rosemary was a devoted employee over at the library for over 15 years, and she passed away last Friday, and she leaves a sister and many nieces and nephews, and she was just a wonderful person. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Could we all please rise for a moment of silence and darken chambers? May they rest in peace. On the mayor's business, the first item on the agenda is a proclamation recognizing April 1st as National Service Recognition Day. Could we have representatives from both organizations please come to the podium? Good evening and welcome.
Thank you for inviting us.
You're very
My
welcome.
name is Christina Santos Gordon, and I am the Director of Community Resources at Community Teamwork, and I manage the Senior Corps Volunteer Program in the Division of Energy and Community Resources. And our volunteers, we right now currently have about 400 volunteers enrolled in our programs, serving the greater Lowell community. Foster grandparents are spending time with young children in public schools and Head Start programs, mentoring them and providing them with extra care, helping them succeed. And Senior Corps, some companions are spending time with frail elders and with their main goal to help keep them in the home and out of a nursing home. And then we have RSVP volunteers that serve in various ways in the community with local nonprofits. And I'd say last year, the combined volunteer work is almost 100,000 hours of service in the community of Lowell and the surrounding towns. So they do a lot of great work to make the community a better place. I brought two of our volunteers with us tonight. If they could just stand up and they can introduce themselves.
Please do.
Henry
Please come
Perron.
to the podium if you could.
Henry? Henry Perrant is an RSVP volunteer, and Mary Wilder is a foster grandparent. And both of them have been volunteering at Community Teamwork Senior Corps programs for lots of years. I don't even know. off
Can
the
you come
top
to the podium so the folks at home can see you? We're gonna put you right on television.
This is Henry. Henry?
Hi, I volunteer at the MRT. I've worked at the Summer Music Series. I've volunteered for the Winterfest, and I also volunteer in other different places outside the city also. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Henry.
Mary?
I'm Mary Mahoney Wilder, and I've been a foster grandparent for 10 years, 5 at Pawtucketville in the Pawtucket Memorial School. I'm right now at the Pine School out on Boylston Street, and I'm in the kindergarten. And I help the teacher, and I work 4 hours a day for that, and I enjoy doing it. I'm following my mother's footsteps. She worked at the Greenelm School for many years as a foster grandmother. So I'm very appreciative of the fact that I can do this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you again. Thank
Okay,
you.
so if you could stay right there. We have a proclamation. Could we have representative from
I
UTEC?
wrote something, I didn't memorize it.
We all know what that's like.
My name is Nani. I am a current AmeriCorps member at the United Teen Equality Center here in Lowell, and I feel like a 10. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Elliott and Lowell City Council members. You have shown UTEC and in turn the AmeriCorps program extraordinary support in the past and have enabled us to thrive as an integral part of the community here in Lowell. Currently in its 6th year of service, UTEC's AmeriCorps members have given over 7,000 hours of service to the youth of Lowell. Over 700 volunteers have been recruited and participated in a multitude of service projects and special events held by UTEC. And perhaps the most important number of all, over 39 graduates of the AmeriCorps program at UTEC have stayed and continued to serve in Lowell. I just want to share a short story about the impact that UTEC has had on my life. It was 2006, and my sister had recently enrolled in UMass Lowell. I was an unhappy teenager growing up in a New England town that I had no connection to. We were poor kids living in a rich town, being raised by a single mother who went to college at night and worked full-time during the day. I was angry, disengaged, and began to act out through less than healthy mediums. My sister, being my chaperone until my mom got out of work, asked me to come to Lowell on one of my days off so that we could discover the city together. We wandered into a local coffee shop and stumbled right into the middle of a poetry open mic. I was enamored by the performers and the stories they had to tell. They said that they had come from UTEC. I started to get curious. I asked questions, I made friends, I went to UTEC, and I fell in love with the safe haven that this organization and its inhabitants had built for its community. The people that I met at UTEC and in Lowell helped me channel my frustration with a world that I believed did not understand me into something productive. Something that helped me to turn my life around, enroll in college, and ultimately helped me give back to the community that helped me discover myself. I am a product of the love and support of so many people, and I'm here to thank them for their service to me. Thank you again to Mayor Elliott and the members of City Council for all your support.
Thank you so much. Very well done. Very well said. So on behalf of the city and all of my colleagues, I know I speak for all of them when I say we are so grateful to all of you here. And when I saw this request, I couldn't wait to put on the agenda because I believe that it's important for us to engage all levels, all generations of people in volunteering in this community. I feel it's the bedrock of this city. You provide so many services where the city and the state and federal government just cannot. So on behalf of the city, we're very grateful and we're indebted for all that you do. And on behalf of the city of Lowell and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, by His Honor Rodney M. Elliott, on behalf of all my colleagues in government, a proclamation. And whereas service to others is a hallmark of the American character and central to how we meet our challenges. National service expands economic opportunity by creating more sustainable, resilient communities and providing education, career skills, and leadership abilities for those who serve. National service participants serve in more than 60,000 locations across the country, bolstering the civic neighborhood and faith-based organizations that are so vital to our economic and social well-being. And whereas national service participants increase the impact of the organization they serve with, both through their direct service and by recruiting and managing millions of additional volunteers. National service participants demonstrate commitment, dedication, and patriotism by making an intensive commitment to service, a commitment that remains with them for their future endeavors. And whereas the Corporation for National and Community Service shares a priority with mayors nationwide to engage citizens, improve lives, and strengthen communities, and it is joining with the National League of Cities, City of Service, and mayors across the country to recognize the impact of service on the Mayor's Day of Recognition for National Service Day on April 1st, 2014. Now, therefore, I, Rodney M. Elliott, Mayor of the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim April 1st, 2014 as National Service Recognition Day in the City of Lowell, and we encourage all residents to recognize the positive impact that national service has on our city, and we want to thank every single one of you who have served and finding ways to give back to the community. Given this first day of April, March 2014, by myself, the Mayor of the City of Lowell, on behalf of all my colleagues in government, we thank you and congratulations.
Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a citation to Tom Durkin in recognition of his work on the carpet renovation in the City Council chamber. Mr. Durkin, could you please come to the podium?
Thank you, Mayor and fellow city councilors. Just a couple of points I'd really like to point out. Sean Harmon from Harmon's Wallpaper is responsible for the catalyst of putting this together. There's a lot of talent in this city. As you stand here, as I did the other day, and look at the paintings that are all created out of artists from Lowell, the talent that it just shows in those paintings also exhiberated in the decor that was put together by tradesmen all within miles of here. The city council has talent, your predecessors have talent, the city has talent. It's very humbling to follow what I just heard, because there is a lot of talent within these young men and women who would explode with uncapped. The city seal was very emotional. Once you blow that up and see what's on it, a lot of us look at the city seals on stationery and in various trucks and vehicles, but it is a representative of a city that is built out of tradesmen and various talent. On the economical side, the city council is responsible for keeping our businesses going. As a businessman in this city, entering my 54th year, I'm sitting here watching the city council, and 52 years ago I was in this council chambers looking for support of a permit in order to make our business up on Applin Street grow. And the city council in those days, Mayor Sampson, Arthur Genbrew and company, voted successfully, and we're there today as a product. I'd like to really appreciate Sean Harmon again, because a lot of the people in the city do not realize this was put together without a dime of the city's, with the exception of some background things that the city workers did. But as far as the interiors, the painting, the decor, the hardwood floors was all done by donations by the arts of the city of Lowell to make this grand old lady back to what it used to be, a nice city council chambers and very historical. Thank you very much for the honor.
Thank you, Mr. Durkin. Please stay right there. I'm not sure if the television camera can pan down to that seal, but it is a remarkable, it's remarkable work, and we thought it was important to
When you
come in.
blow that up and you see the true seal that was produced in the 1800s, it's very revealing of what the city's about. And as I say, until I saw that blown up and reproduced exactly the way it was built in the art, it's very impressive. And it should be in the city council chambers.
You should know that there is a replica in the mayor's office, and there's a lot of people that want to buy them. That's how attractive it is. So, Councilor Mercia?
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for recognizing true talent, a true businessman of 54 years, and you were instrumental in beautifying this grand chamber. So I'm honored that the mayor and you.
When I said grand old lady, I was talking about the
I thought you were
chambers.
talking about me. There's a quote for.
I knew that too, Councilor Mercia.
I said, "How dare he call me the old lady?" But that's
Left
okay.
yourself open.
I know it. That's all right. But,
All right, let's get to the citation
but
before we
thank you,
get there.
thank you very much.
So, Mr. Durkin, thank you so much. And here's a citation. Be it hereby known to all that the City of Lowell and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts hereby offers its sincere appreciation to Tom Durkin, owner of Durkin's Commercial Carpeting and Interiors, a family-owned business which began serving the general business, commercial, and industrial sectors in 1948. Durkins is the professionals who perform and supply the contract market with carpet, draperies, and upholstery, flooring, ceramic tiles, shades and blinds, matting, and specialty accessories. The team at Durkins Carpeting and Interiors Incorporated and Merrimack Rug at Durkins believes customers should buy products and services from people they can trust, and that the customers should receive the service and support necessary to make their purchases an enjoyable one. For taking part in the restoration of the City Council chambers, you created a carpet inlay using the logo for the City of Lowell, making it a beautiful addition to the chambers. Now therefore, I, Mayor Rodney M. Elliott, on behalf of my colleagues in government, hereby offer our appreciation for your hard work on the restoration project, and we thank you on behalf of the entire City of Lowell, given this first day of April, March 2014, by myself on behalf of my colleagues in government. Mr. Durkin, thank you very much, and congratulations. If there's no objection, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules to take an item out of order. It's an order. It's 6.1. We have Mr. Arcella in the audience. Motion to suspend the rules by Council Mercy, seconded by Council Lanazzo. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion carries. It's an order. It's a 60-day trial. Entertain a motion to waive the full reading by Council O'Rourke, seconded by Council Samaras. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed, motion carries. Second reading by title, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the City of Lowell, in City Council Chamber. Order, pursuant to Chapter 266 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, concerning Section 266-6 thereof entitled Temporary Experimental Regulations. Temporary traffic regulations are hereby implemented for a period of 60 days. Mr. Arcella, do you have anything to add?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is with regard to the move of our Lowell National Park Law Enforcement Division moving into the Market Mills complex overlooking Market Street Park, where the Mill Girl sculpture is, and playing a more visible role. They have joint jurisdiction, I guess, with the City of Lowell Police. So we're doing our bit to be, that much more visible in the downtown and in support of the city as well as the national park functions.
Thank you, Mr. Arcella. This was before the council several meetings ago, so we did contact my office and we worked with the city manager office to bring this forward for a 60-day temporary trial. Further questions by members of the council? Entertain a motion to
Move approval.
move approval by Council Mercia, seconded by Council Belanger. Roll call.
Counselor Kennedy?
Yes.
Counselor Leahy? Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Rourke?
Yes.
Counselor Samaras?
Yes.
Counselor Belanger?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
8 yeas, 1 absent. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Arcella. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Reverting back to the original agenda. Under the city clerk, we have minutes from the meeting March 18th, minutes from Economic Development Subcommittee, March 18th. We have minutes from the Municipal Facilities Subcommittee on March 19th. We have minutes from Parks and Recreation Subcommittee on March 24th. There are also minutes from meetings of March 25th, March 26th, March 27th. City Clerk, we appreciate you getting all these minutes in order from all these meetings. Entertain a motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Belanger. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed, motion carries. Not being 7 o'clock yet, we'll move on to communications from the city manager. Questions on or issues on motion responses, Council Kennedy, and then Council Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Regarding number A, the inspection of recently paved streets for quality control, I would like to move that we refer that to the neighborhood subcommittee. The report basically, I think, focuses on just how the streets are done and so forth, and that it's cold winter, and I think everybody realizes that, but I think there have been several streets where cracks are already showing up, and a couple of streets where there's little dips in the road that makes you question the quality. So anyways, I just put that as a motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Motion by Council Kennedy, second by Council Belanger. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed, motion carries. Council Belanger, another motion? Sorry, Council Kennedy, did you have another?
I just would like to bring everybody's attention to 4.3, which is the proposed council rule changes, and I guess they have to be, we have to wait a week, and so this would be on the agenda for next week, and I think there's a memorandum, including with the rules from the city solicitor.
Okay.
This would be a time to question the city solicitor if there were any questions, I guess.
Okay, questions on the communication to the city solicitor? No? Okay, so that'll be on the agenda the following week. Council Belanger?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to comment on communication from the manager, item number B, on income produced on additional meals tax since its inception. Now, the good news is, and thank you, Mr. Manager, for your timely response, a very, very informative report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council.
Now, it was enacted in 2010, halfway through, so I think it went into effect FY 2011. So in the course of the last 3.5 years, the city has taken in approximately $3 million. And at the time, I remember there was much discussion and dialogue. I was under the understanding that some of this was going to go to market the city, because in essence, this is where this money is coming from. It's an additional 0.75% on meals tax, food and beverages that are from customers, visitors, all throughout the city. And through the manager's report, it went to basically offset the FY11 budget challenges, quote, unquote. It's one good thing. We're in a good position. We have an outstanding bond rating, and that's great. But other things have suffered throughout. And this is something that is extremely important that we set focuses on. If we're going to move forward in economic development, we need to market the city properly. So I think some of this money should be allocated. I know it's a discussion for another day, but I'm just hinting to my colleagues that come budget time, I'm going to be lobbying for more money to market the city. I think it's fair. I think businesses all throughout the city deserve it. This tax was implemented for what I thought was, the intent was this was supposed to go to market the city. That was not the case. So I just want to bring it up to my colleagues that as we enter the budget season, please, I think we need to really pick it up, because I've spoken to officials from the Convention and Visitors Bureau, MRT, LMA. City advertising has either stayed the same or gone down. And that's not the direction we need to head if we're going to build the city up. So it's, again, a conversation for another day, but I just wanted to bring it up to my colleagues, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, and then Council Samaras.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with you, Council. It's a good discussion for another day in terms of budget money going towards marketing the city. This memo kind of indicates that there have been increases every year with money coming in, which I think is a good element, because I think originally the fear might have been that it's going to turn people away. seeing that might be a little different because it has risen every year. Again, the question about earmarking money specifically in a budgetary item, that can only be done by special legislation. I think that's why I provided the kind of historical background for you when it first came out. I think there were budgetary constraints and pressures on the budget at that time, and it went to go, to non-core service like the auditorium to alleviate, so we can keep that going as well. But I think you're right, Council, there's probably discussion in there for marketing the city, but that's why I gave the historical perspective about you can't really earmark it towards a specific item during the budget unless you have a special act of the legislature, and at the time, historically, they were just kind of trying to ease some pressure so they could keep some non-core services up and going.
Council Belanger?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Manager, thank you. Yeah, it was a very informative response you gave me, and I do appreciate that. And that's the good news. It's increased every year, and as a retail restaurant in the downtown, it hasn't been a hindrance whatsoever. Most cities and towns have adopted it, and I think it was the right thing to do. But I also think it's the right thing to do to give some of this back towards marketing. So if thank you for enlightening me. I will take that course, Mr. Manager, so I do appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Council Samaras?
Okay, I think Councilor Belanger has brought up some very important points at this time. When we needed the money, when we had the budget shortfalls, we could see the use, and I remember watching on TV this council debate over increasing the sales tax or the meals tax. And that money has been used for the MRT, which I think is important, and other programs like that. But at this particular point, where the city's in better financial situation, I'd like to refer this actually back to the Subcommittee on Economic Development. I'd like to have them have the time to create a marketing strategy, a strategy to market the city, to develop incentives for the downtown. I think this money should be, in a sense, given back to the businesses that give us this money. In other words, if we can market the city in such a way to increase participation in the downtown, especially with the businesses, it's a win-win for everybody. But I think a strategy has to be developed, and I'd like to make a motion that we return this back to the Subcommittee on Economic Development, allow them to come up with a strategy on how these funds could be used. And then whatever steps have to take place, Mr. Manager, we take those steps.
Second.
But at this point, allow them to do their work, to be creative.
Motion by Council Samaras to refer this report to the Economic Development Subcommittee, seconded by Council Kennedy. Mr. Manager?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, Councilor, in terms of fact that, if it seems the direction wants to be to develop more marketing aspects to the city. And this is just another revenue stream that we can utilize that takes a little pressure off the budget. And if if that formulates into a plan for marketing, then I think it should move forward on it.
Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. And the opposed? Motion carries. Further questions, comments on Council Milonazo, then Council O'Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under item F, which was a motion I filed on behalf of the residents of the Mazer Park Apartments over on Fayette Street, possibility of installing a crosswalk at the corner of Fayette, Concord, and Andover Streets. We do have a report in our packets this evening that states that it's not feasible to install a pedestrian signal at that location. However, a new signal with pedestrian buttons will be installed at the intersection of Church Street and Lawrence Street this year, which will provide signalization crossing 700 feet west of the Fayette Street intersection that they requested. So I think that's good news for the residents of Mazer Park, and that's why I wanted just to bring it up publicly that is in the report and will happen sometime this year.
Yeah, I think that intersection there, that'll alleviate a lot of pressure that intersection finds. And also, Councilor, to the east, you have the existing one that crosses over near
High Street.
High Street.
Correct, yes, great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Council O'Rourke?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With regards to motion response C, the use of Narcan, to refer to Public Safety Subcommittee. I did speak to the Department of Health, and they would like to do a presentation of the use of Narcan at the next Public Safety Subcommittee meeting.
Second.
Motion by Council O'Rourke to refer that report under item C to the Public Safety Subcommittee, seconded by Council Milonazo. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed? That motion carries. Further discussions on the motion and responses? Council Martin?
Yes, thank you. Under item J, the tracking of council motions, the quarterly report. So the summary on the first page talks about motions referred to the manager, motions referred to other. The very first meeting, it's 2 zeros, yet later on in the report, there's a motion I had filed at that meeting referred to the Economic Development Subcommittee. It's not been taken up yet about incubator items, but it should be on the list. And it is, in fact, in the detail behind. So I don't know if there may be others that aren't summarized on the list. I don't know how that was done, if there's others that are missing, but I think we need to pay, I mean, I think the detail is good behind, but
Mr. Manager?
We'll look into that. I recall that incubator one.
okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Further discussion on motions? Council Belanger?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to discuss Communication L, an update from Henry Martian regarding the problem property task force update. And I want to say I read the whole thing, and I am extremely, extremely pleased how the previous administration and previous council went about this. I think it's great. When the program was initiated, we already have 6 original. It was less than a year ago it was initiated. There was 6 homes and problem properties already removed from the list since its inception. Granted, it gets replaced. You're never going to see this list have 0, that's for sure. But if we keep this number at a constant 10, 12 citywide, I think it's a grand achievement. I really do. So I'm extremely pleased with this and how we've gone about it. I see we've also received grant money to hire individuals to stay on this, to stay on foreclosures and neighborhood walks and so on and so forth. But it's just a very good program that the city have put forth in a time of very high foreclosure rates, and I think we're right on top of this. So it's very good what we achieved here. I commend all those who are involved, and I anticipate on being very supportive of the program in any way I can. So thank you very much to all those involved. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When we think about problem properties and how they ruin the value of a neighborhood, we forget to think about problem property being no home there, but just a vacant lot. This is problem property too, because now it becomes an empty, vacant lot, and people think it's a dumping site. And that is what's happening in certain areas of the city. I may be bringing up a parcel of property next week on the agenda or in the future if it isn't corrected in a timely fashion. I mean, how would you like to be living next door to a vacant piece of property that happens to be a dumping site, and every now and then you look out your window and someone in the middle of the night has backed up a truck and threw out a couch, a sofa, piles of leaves, all kind of debris there, and the city keeps calling, and they're out of town that own that, and you know, it's just it's an eyesore, and it's a problem that's happening all the time, and I'm constantly on the phone saying, can you send another crew there? Our city workers are cleaning this, sending a bill, and you know, it's just unbelievable, and I think something should be done about that. We can talk about problem buildings, yes, that's true, but there's vacant lots that are a problem, and I just had to interject that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. Further discussion under motion responses. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Mercia. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Being past 7 o'clock, we'll revert back to general public hearings under section 3(3-1). First reading is an order of taking and acceptance of Alyssa Drive, Dabby Way, and Green Street Extension. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Milonazo, seconded by Councilor O'Rourke. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Second reading by title. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, City of Lowell. In City Council. Order of taking, acceptance of Alyssa Drive, Dabby Way, and Green Street Extension. to take by eminent domain and fee certain parcels of land in the city of Lowell for municipal purposes, to wit, the layout and acceptance of Alyssa Drive, Dabby Way, and Green Street Extension, and other municipal purposes associated therewith. I'll now open the public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor. Those wishing to speak in favor. Seeing none, we will close that portion of the hearing. Now open that portion of the hearing for those wishing to speak in opposition. Those in opposition? Those in opposition, seeing none, we will close that portion of the hearing. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just basically accepting streets so we can put them towards our Chapter 90 formula and obtain more money from the state, hopefully. This is a matter that, per Law Department directive, it's got to go back to the clerk for 7 days, and it'll come back here next week for a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Entertain a motion to refer to the city clerk's office for 7 days by Councilor Samaras, seconded by Councilor Belanger. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed. Motion carries. Reverting back to agenda, under city manager's portion of the agenda, item 4-2. It's a communication from the city manager, request out-of-state travel for 2 Lowell Police Department officers. Motion to approve by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Martin. Roll call.
Counsel Martin?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Counsel Kennedy?
Yes.
Counsel Martin?
Yes.
Counsel Mercia?
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo?
Yes.
Counsel Rourke?
Yes.
Counsel Samaras?
Yes.
Counsel Belanger?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
8 yeas, 1 absent. Next is a communication, proposed rule changes. Council Kennedy already brought in a discussion on this. We did read it, and this needs to be referred to the law department to draw a proper vote. Motion by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Mercia. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed. That motion carries. Next item under 4-4 is a communication to accept the resignation of Gail Bartlett from the Disability Commission. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Milonazo, seconded by Councilor Rourke. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed. Motion carries. Next item under votes from the city manager. Is a vote for parcel of land, Lot D, on Plan Book 175, Plan 2, situated at 157 West Forest Street, from Mary Lallis. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Belanger, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Second reading by title. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, City of Lowell, in City Council, a vote authorizing the city manager to accept a parcel of land, Lot D, on Plan Book 175, Plan 2, situated at 157 West Forest Street in the City of Lowell, from Mary Lallis. What is the wish of the council? Councilor Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to commend City Solicitor Christine O'Connor, because I did receive a call, probably a few of us received the same call from Mary Lallis's daughter, to the point where we really didn't know what to do with this. And she came to the podium, the daughter did, and really, she practically cried in our face. And I almost wanted to say, please don't cry. It's bad enough the council does that every Tuesday, but be that as it may, the solicitor found a way to make everybody happy. And so I always believe that there's a way we can come to a happy medium, and so thank you very much for making that happen. This vote is indicative of that, so I move approval.
Move approval by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Samaras. Roll call.
Counsel Kennedy?
Yes.
Counsel Leahy? Counsel Martin?
Yes.
Counsel Mercia?
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo?
Yes.
Counsel Rourke?
Yes.
Counsel Samaras?
Yes.
Counsel Belanger?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes. 8 yeas, 1 absent.
Just in reference to that last vote, Mr. Manager.
Mr. Manager?
Just look at, that had been a tax title for quite some time, and there was a situation that had come out before, and I talked to the, a word from the assessor that it's going to be a little effect on the overlay, but not a heck of a lot. It would take us forever to get this out of the tax title, and that's why we move forward on it.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Next item is 5.2. It's a vote to transfer $326,000 from the Law Department, City of Lowell, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, a vote in City Council order to cover anticipated shortfall in various worker compensation / medical accounts in the Law Department, ordered by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows, that the amount of $326,000 be transferred from various accounts as set forth in Attachment A to various accounts as set forth in Attachment A. Order recommendation introduced by Michael Gary, Acting City Manager. What is the wish of the body?
Move approval.
Second reading by title, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, City of Lowell, in City Council, the vote, order to transfer $326,000 to cover the anticipated shortfall in various workers' compensation, medical accounts in the Law Department. Move to approve by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Milonazo. Roll call.
Counsel Kennedy?
Yes.
Counsel Leahy? Counsel Martin?
Yes.
Counsel Mercia?
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo?
Yes.
Counsel Rourke?
Yes.
Counsel Samaras?
Yes.
Counsel Belanger?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes. 8 yeas, 1 absent. Next item under 5-3, another vote, transfer $45,000 in the Cemetery Department. Second reading, City of Lowell, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the vote in City Council in order to provide services needed to prepare all municipal cemeteries for Spring Memorial Day weekend, ordered by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows, that the amount of $45,000 be transferred from Perpetual Care Interest Fund number 8406 to Cemetery Division Overtime Account Appropriation number 049-14151-513000 and Cemetery Improvements Account number 049-14170-580301, more fully described in Attachment A. Order recommendation introduced by Michael Gary, Acting City Manager. What is the wish of the body?
Move approval.
Move approval by Council Milonazo, seconded by Council O'Rourke. Roll call.
Counsel Kennedy?
Yes.
Counsel Leahy? Counsel Martin?
Yes.
Counsel Mercia?
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo?
Yes.
Counsel Rourke?
Yes.
Counsel Samaras?
Yes.
Counsel Belanger?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
8 yeas, 1 absent. Next 5 votes regarding statement of interest for various schools in the city. I will read the first statement and then just the title for the other 5 if there's no objection. First reading. Vote, authorize statement of interest for the Daily Middle School under Core Program. Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the City of Lowell. In City Council, a vote approving the statement of interest to be submitted by the Superintendent of Schools to the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA, under the Core Program. Now therefore, be it voted by the City Council of the City of Lowell. The City Council, having convened an open meeting on Tuesday, April 1st, prior to the closing date, the City Council of the City of Lowell, in accordance with its charter, bylaws, and ordinances, has voted to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest form dated March 17th, 2014, for the Daily Middle School located at 150 Fleming Street, which describes and explains the following deficiencies and the priority categories for which an application may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future under Priority 2. Elimination of existing severe overcrowding. Priority 4, prevention of severe overcrowding expected to result from the increased enrollments, and Priority 7, replacement of or addition to obsolete buildings in order to provide a full range of programs consistent with state and approved local requirements. And hereby further specifically acknowledges that by submitting this statement of interest form, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or the approval of an application, the awarding of a grant, or any other federal funding commitment from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits the city, town, regional school district to file an application for funding under the Massachusetts School Building Authority. Entertain a motion to approve by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Mercia. Roll call.
Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have a report, Madam?
Yes, I
Okay.
do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We were very fortunate that on this past Wednesday, March 26th, the delegation, Senator Donahue, Representatives Golden, Murphy, and Nangle, arranged a meeting for the school committee and the city council members to meet with the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA. And those in attendance were three representatives from MSBA: John McCarthy, Executive Director; Matthew Donovan, Chief Operating Officer; and Jim DeLue, Legislative Liaison for MSBA. The delegation comprised of the Senator Eileen Donahue and Representatives Golden, Murphy, and Nangle, city officials Mayor Rodney Elliott, school committee members Steve Genren, Dave Conway, Connie Martin, city council members Corey Belanger and myself, school department representative Superintendent Gene Franco, Deputy Superintendent Jay Lang. And in light of the fact that a school building program is being explored in the city of Lowell, the members of the MBSA helped the city officials to clarify the process that we would need to follow for Lowell to proceed with school renovations, additions, or new buildings. The potential school sites for renovation/building projects that are to be constructed are the five that you read: the Daley, the Robinson Wang, Lowell High School, and the Rogers. The process as described by the MSBA is that the school committee would select a priority project to be reviewed by MSBA by April 11th. The school committee will be taking this vote tomorrow at their April 2nd meeting. After the vote has been taken, there will be an in-depth study done concerning the potential school project. These steps are truly the beginning stages of our future school building efforts. All areas of the future projects will be closely examined for their feasibility, cost, and ability to meet the needs of each school community building under construction. Now, many questions were asked, such as, could we bundle, let's say, the Robinson School and for overcrowding and Lowell High School? And the answer was no. But what if the answer was yes, but we never asked the question and we never knew that? Mr. Donovan, the Chief Operating Officer, said the interesting remark that I took with me, as many others did too: the two main sticking points to any approval of money are as follows. Public safety. Are the students in any danger of being hurt because of structural problems? And two, are any students being denied because of any absence of curriculum being offered that they could not receive? So it was a very informative meeting. We met over an hour. It was something to, it was a very good meeting put together. I just want to say that Representative Murphy took us on the tour of the House, and Senator Eileen Donahue took us on a tour of the State House, of the Senate, and we all took a turn sitting in Therese Murray's seat with the gavel. So this was really a very interesting afternoon. So thank you to everybody for a wonderful meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Council, on behalf of the Municipal Subcommittee. Further discussion? That was a very good report, Councilor. Councilor Belanger?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, it was. Councilor Mercia, outstanding report. But we learned some cold, hard facts, Mr. Mayor, and I want to express to my colleagues that when the school committee was here with Superintendent Franco and Deputy Jay Lang, originally he said that applications had to be in April 11th, and that we would have a sort of a grace period, if you will, to pick a priority project, whether it's to pick middle schools, which we anticipate some overcrowding in 2-3 years, or target the high school. But unfortunately, that's not the truth. So I didn't want to, it was, I'm sure, a mistake, but nonetheless, when we apply on April the 11th, excuse me, a priority project has to be on the application. So unfortunately, time is of the essence, so we need to come up collaboratively, come up with a decision whether we're going to focus on our middle schools or our high school. So that needs to be decided in about 10 days from now. So I just want to express that to my colleagues. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. And I also want to express my gratitude to members of the delegation from the Senate, Senator Donahue, Representative Golden, Nangle, and Murphy for putting this meeting together at the State House in somewhat of a short fashion. It was important to have all senior officials from the Mass School Building Authority, as well as Superintendent of Schools, Gene Franco, who is with us here tonight, and Jay Lang. It was a productive meeting. We also learned that there are some options available considering the two issues that we're faced with overcrowding in the schools in several years, as well as infrastructure problems at the high school. So it was well worth the trip, and we learned a lot, and we also got some very clear advice and direction on the votes we're taking, and also these statement of interest just for members. This happens every year on an annual basis. So these applications that we submit with the priority project, we're hopeful that it will be funded, but next year we have another opportunity to put in similar applications. Madam Superintendent, thank you for coming tonight. Anything else to add? Nope, she's good. Okay, Councilor Kennedy?
Mr. Mayor, could I ask, if the decision has to be made in school by April 11th and the school committee's meeting tomorrow, do you know what the school committee intends to do, what their priority intends to be, or what the school administration's recommendation to the school committee is going to be?
Madam Superintendent? We weren't going to let you leave without speaking.
Good evening, everybody. Again, thank you all for your support. It was a wonderful meeting. Councilor Mercier. There is a report that's already been produced. It is my recommendation that the committee will vote on tomorrow evening is to prioritize Lowell High School at this particular time. Looking at all pieces together for the long-term future of the district that impacts the most children, as far as curriculum and instruction and facilities, with what our kids need for the Common Core standards, that is my recommendation. Now, as was stated with Mr. Lang when we had our presentation a few weeks ago with you here, this is the recommendation that we're making at this particular time. As soon as the MSBA comes back to the city, they review that particular package and see if, in fact, that is the most viable piece. That does not mean that it's the final decision. It will have to go to members of different community groups as well as all of us. But at this particular time, taking all into consideration the fact that we could not ban the whole middle school project together, when you look at the work that's been done by the councils in the past, looking at science, technology, the Common Core standards, what needs to happen 10 years from now, because that's what we're really talking about. That's the priority that I'm recommending. I believe there is support for that, but we will see tomorrow evening with the vote of the committee. They have to make that priority, and then again, MSBA comes here and we start all over again. So there'll be much time for more conversation as this evolves, but I'm glad to take any questions you may have.
Councilor Kennedy?
So if you were able to bundle the Daley, the Robinson, the Wang, and the Rogers together, then maybe that would have been the priority, but because you're not able to do that and because you have to pick one of those, then the high school trumps those individually, but maybe not collectively. Is that correct?
More or less. Because of the whole need for the facility pieces that we need for high school graduates to compete in high school, I believe that facilities-wise, still the high school itself needs to be a project. Now, that doesn't mean that as a community, we need to think about other possibilities, whether it be portables short-term, does not mean that we wouldn't get, there's another project that you don't see this evening for a new super K-8 school. We could not put that on our statement of interest this evening, simply because it's a new school, so you can't put that in. So that doesn't mean, it just means that out of all, when you take everything into consideration, impact-wise, Lowell has a great history at its high school, but we really do need to look at facilities-wise, what is the critical mass? And so that's the recommendation at this particular time. So we would have to, if we did 4 middle schools, if that was the project, then we would have to say, we have to do the other 4, because there's that equity piece. So curriculum-wise, for the future of the outcome of our graduates, it's my recommendation it should be Lowell High School at this time.
And so if we're going with Lowell High School, and I think that's probably a good recommendation, but why are we voting on the others? Just to get them into the queue?
Yes.
Is that, okay.
Yeah, so that's to get all 5 projects into the queue, and as we say, they might come and say, the Robinson School needs a lot of work, we disagree, they'll come in, there's gonna be more advice. Although the MSBA has been at Lowell High, I have walked Lowell High along with our delegation and councils at that particular time, and they know about our facilities, and so that's the recommendation, and tomorrow we will see if they're supported.
Okay, and so when we send this in by April 11th, then we'll hear back from the state in the fall?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
The early part of the fall?
The timeline that they told us was probably August, September, as I recall. And then, of course, they come on site, and there'll be another whole series of meetings, and the process will begin with the MSBA overseeing it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Council? Just to add, MSBA officials, they did tell us that there's about a $500 million annual authorization for this program. So they gather all of the applications submitted by all the communities, and then they come out and they actually do a feasibility study, as Madam Superintendent indicated, of all of the needs that we submit, and they actually make the determination of the project and the funding levels based upon their meetings, their walkthroughs, and their evaluation of the particular project. So it's this is just the first step, and it is a long process, but as they were firm to tell us, they make the decisions on funding levels. What's also important to note is the current reimbursement is, they did indicate it's not going to get any greater. Right now, reimbursement for the city of Lowell is 79.6%, so about 80% reimbursement on the grant, on the fund. So it's important that we proceed with this. Council Kennedy?
So when we take this vote, do we lock in with that reimbursement? Is that locked in, or can that change in the?
No, that is correct. That we do lock in, correct, once we submit these applications. Further discussion? Thank you, Madam Superintendent. So we'll take individual votes, but we will not have to read the entire order. Motion to approve by Council Mercia, seconded by Council Rourke. Roll call.
Counselor Kennedy?
Yes.
Counselor Leahy? Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Rourke?
Yes.
Counselor Samaras?
Yes.
Counselor Belanger?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes. 8 yeas, 1 absent. Next item, vote authorize statement of interest for the Robinson School under core program. Motion to approve by Council Milonazo, second by Council Samaras. Roll call.
Counselor Kennedy?
Yes.
Counselor Leahy? Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Rourke?
Yes.
Counselor Samaras?
Yes.
Counselor Belanger?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes. 8 yeas, 1 absent. Motion carries. Next item is a vote authorize a statement of interest for the Wang Middle School under core program. Motion to approve by Councilor Rourke, second by Councilor Samaras. Roll call.
Counselor Kennedy?
Yes.
Counselor Leahy? Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Rourke?
Yes.
Counselor Samaras?
Yes.
Counselor Belanger?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes. 8 yeas, 1 absent. Next item, 5.7, a vote authorize a statement of interest for the Lowell High School under the core program. Motion to approve by Councilor Belanger, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. Roll call.
Counselor Kennedy?
Yes.
Counselor Leahy? Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Rourke?
Yes.
Counselor Samaras?
Yes.
Counselor Belanger?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes. 8 yeas, 1 absent, motion carries. Next item, 5-8, vote, authorize a statement of interest for the Rogers Middle School and the core program. Motion to approve by Councilor Kennedy, second by Councilor Martin. Roll call.
Counselor Kennedy?
Yes.
Counselor Leahy? Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Rourke?
Yes.
Counselor Samaras?
Yes.
Counselor Belanger?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes. 8 yeas, 1 absent. Next item, under 5-9. First reading, vote to accept, expend a grant amount of $116,500 to fund 5 new police officers and standard issued equipment. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Milonazo. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion carries. Second reading by title. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, in the City of Lowell, in City Council is a vote authorizing the city manager on behalf of the City of Lowell to accept and expend a grant from the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security, EOPS, in the amount of $116,500 to fund salaries and uniforms, bulletproof vests, and other standard issue equipment for 5 new police officers for the police department. There was someone registered to speak.
Anne Marie Page?
Good evening. My name is Anne Marie Page. I reside at 26 Fremont Street in Lowell, and I am the current president of the Citywide Neighborhood Council. This is very important to us. It's also very important to all of you. We know that. Each and every one of you councilors, when you campaigned, promised us public safety. And as I listened to the city manager's interviews, our new city manager, Mr. Murphy, promised us public safety. It is our top priority. We have the citizens of Lowell, and we have all the university students that are coming in from this country and other countries, and we are promising them public safety. So I think we're all on the same page, and I believe we all agree this is something that doesn't need too much chatter. It really has to happen. And we appreciate all your hard work, and we depend on you and the chief to keep us safe. I thank you kindly.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Anyone else ready to speak? Mr. Manager?
If I may, Your Honor, I'll just have the superintendent join us tonight, and I believe this is a little bit of forward thinking on his part, so I'd like him to explain it, and it's something that I think is going to be beneficial as we move ahead.
Thank you very much,
Chief?
Mr. Gary. Thank you very much, Mayor Elliott, members of the City Council. The City of Lowell received this grant in October of 2013 from the Executive Office of Public Safety. At the time, the original grant application requested, among other things, that we hire 3 civilian employees for various jobs in the city police department. Due to the election and the prohibition against hiring people until after the new city council was seated, it was delayed for a couple of months. This city council did approve these 3 civilian positions in January of 2014. We began the hiring process, and then at some point in further consultation with members of my staff and some members of the state delegation and the city council, including Councilor Rourke, it became apparent that it would be potentially better to delegate these funds from this EOPS grant to fund the 5 additional police officer positions. So we made that recommendation to EOPS. They have approved that modification in the budget, effective immediately if we choose to. What I would suggest and recommend and seek authorization from the council is that we use these funds to hire 5 additional police officers beginning in the beginning of June 2014. The grant funds will equip these officers with their required equipment, and it will fund their salaries through the conclusion of the grant, which would be October 31st, 2014. And then at that time, potentially considering the budget cycle, the city would pick up those funds for the 2/3 of the remainder of the fiscal year 2015 budget. I think that this fits in very well with the reorganization, the rejuvenation of the community policing efforts in the city, and I think it is necessary at this time for the future so that we can fulfill our mission moving forward. The total cost, the estimated cost at the conclusion of this grant, which would be, again, October 31st, 2014, trying to give you some indication moving forward, it would be only $160,000 we anticipate in salaries that would be required to fund these 5 police officer positions from June 1st for that 1 month in the 2014 budget cycle, and then the entire 2015 budget cycle. It would only require $160,000. The first would be 5 months of the 4 to 5 months of this budget cycle of the budget requirements would be picked up under the grant.
Thank you, Chief. Council Rourke?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When our previous manager, Mr. Lynch, hired Superintendent Taylor, he noted his forward thinking and his analytical skills as part of the reason why he hired him. This reason here is a perfect example of that reason. Manager Lynch had a budget that did not include 5 officers. And to have those 5 officers, another $375,000 would have to be added to the proposed FY15 budget. New numbers came in from the state, which came down to $275,000 that would still be needed to be added on to the budget. So this grant, if we move the money over to hire the officers now, not only do we get a head start on having those officers on the street, but it comes at a reduced cost to the public going forward. So it's a tremendous idea. All the credit in the world goes to the superintendent and his staff, and I hope all my colleagues agree with that and vote this through. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. For Council Martin?
Thank you. Chief, where are these officers going to come from? I know we just had a recent academy class, and we've been talking about some transfers from other departments.
Yes, that's correct, Councilor. I have 4 lateral transfers that are due to start April 13th in the Lowell Police Department. That would not fund these 5 positions, would not be funded with those laterals. These 5 positions would be either recruits that would start in our police academy June 2nd, Monday, June 2nd, or in some cases, potentially depending on the list, we may be able to access some people on the list that are already academy trained, and then those people, those potential officers would be able to very quickly be assimilated into the police department and hit the streets probably after a month in a modified police officer training program.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Kennedy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So basically, by doing this vote, what we're doing is rededicating some of the money from the grant, which will help to reduce the impact on the budget for the 5 new police officers that we anticipate bringing on.
That's right.
For several months.
Essentially, the grant will fund 1 month of 14 and 1/3 of the anticipated salary and equipment costs for fiscal year 15.
Okay, thanks.
Further discussion from members of the council? Chief, let me also commend you as well, because I attended that meeting with Senator Donahue, Reps. Nangle, Golden, and Murphy. And rather than hiring civilians that would potentially be laid off in July, you and your staff came up with this reprogramming of funds. I think we should also recognize the delegation they're looking ahead. They're looking at this authorizing legislation in the appropriation process and to ensure that additional funds, by modifying some of the language, that we could potentially see additional funds in the future to fund these offices. So I think that's encouraging news, and they seem very enthusiastic about the continuity of this EOPS grant. So
thank you, I appreciate that.
Just
let me mention, too, that some of these original civilian positions, due to the restructuring and the reorganization in the department, potentially we can fill some of these positions without the necessity for these civilian hires. So again, I recommend and I appreciate everybody's support that these funds would be better directed to 5 additional sworn positions.
Thank you, Superintendent.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Counselor Kennedy?
Yes.
Counselor Leahy? Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Rourke?
Yes.
Counselor Samaras?
Yes.
Counselor Belanger?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes. 8 yeas, 1 absent. Next item, we did 6-1. We'll move on to 7-1. Ordinances from the city manager. First, going to give the first reading. It's an ordinance to amend zoning, extend SMU zone, include 1422.1 and 1434.1 Gorham Street. Entertain a motion to refer this to the planning board for report and recommendation, and a public hearing to be scheduled before the council on May 6th. Motion by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Martin. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion carries. Next item, item 8, the constable bonds, is a communication from the city manager. Request for approval of constable bonds for Juan Urez, Emma Amaro, Kevin Whippen, Jared Riccardi, Christopher Swim, and Samuel Sock. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Rourke. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion carries. Second reading by title is a communication from the city manager to request approval of constable bonds of Juan Urez, Emma Amaro, Kevin Whippen, Jared Riccardi, Christopher Swim, and Samuel Sock. Motion to approve by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Milonazo. Roll call.
Counselor Kennedy?
Yes.
Counselor Leahy? Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Rourke?
Yes.
Counselor Samaras?
Yes.
Counselor Belanger?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes. 8 yeas, 1 absent. Motion carries. Moving on to subcommittee reports. Municipal Facilities Subcommittee Report. Chairwoman Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Municipal Facilities Subcommittee met last Wednesday, March 19th at 5:30 to discuss the dual motion presented by Mayor Elliott and Councilor John Leahy concerning snow removal and the request to meet with both department heads of the city and the school. Present were subcommittee members, Councilors Belanger and Councilor Rourke, DPW Commissioner Ralph Snow, Deputy Commissioner of Streets Eddie Patnod, Brian Curley, School Department Director of Operations and Maintenance, Tom Belgard, Commissioner of Cemeteries, Parks and Recreation, and Acting City Manager Michael Geary, School Committee Member Dave Conway. The subcommittee learned that there is a very detailed plan for the removal of snow at and in the areas of the city schools, which has been revised as necessary over many years. We learned that there is a joint effort of all the parties involved and that they cooperate and work very well together for the good of the whole city. Every fall, these members meet and update the plans for the coming winter. Also, after every storm, members of the school department visit every school to review snow removal activities and request further action if there is a need to do so, whereby follow-up is done immediately. I reiterate that a very close working relationship has been developed among all the parties involved, and they provide this subcommittee with a list of all the 29 schools that were color-coded from an aerial view detailed by color which department is responsible for what. The main objective after any type of snowstorm is to open up the main streets and then the side streets to maintain public safety. Next would be to clean out the schools. We also learned that with the purchase of new vehicles and the installation of electronic salt control system, the city use and cost of the road salt has dropped considerably over the last 3 years. This system that we have, shut off the spreader automatically when the truck comes to a stop, because years ago, when the trucks came to a stop, it still continued to move, and then that's where you lost a lot of the salt. It eliminated uneven distribution and over-salting and adjust the spread rate accordingly. We have 24 trucks with this system on it. The city has saved over $1 million by purchasing this new salt spreader system. Incidentally, our salt supply is in good shape. This is a report of progress. If any of my colleagues want to add to this, it's ironic saying this where there's not much snow on the ground, and it was like 55 today, but I had to report it as it was a couple of weeks ago, and we didn't meet then, so that's a report of progress.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Let's hope the snow stays that way.
Right.
Motion to accept the report as a report of progress by Council Rourke, seconded by Council Samaras. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed? That motion carries. Next report on Parks and Recreation Subcommittee. Madam Chairperson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. On March 24th, the Parks and Recreation Subcommittee met at 5:30 to discuss community gardens at McDermott Park on Beacon Street, which was at the request of the Friends of the Reservoir. The goal of this motion was presented by me and referred to the subcommittee. It was to allow and provide the residents of the city who show interest in their neighborhood the opportunity to take part in a unique program, a community garden program, that will allow the use of a portion of the city's passive park. Those who are in attendance were myself as chair, Councilor Leahy and Councilor Rourke as members, along with Acting City Manager Michael Geary, Tom Bellegarde, the Commissioner of Parks and Recreation, Dave Willett from the Department Services, members of the Friends of the Res, Priscilla Barry, Heidi Miller, who's here with us this evening, Marie Brown, Nancy Lamoth, Mike Harrington, and Francie Slater, co-director of Mill City Grows. At the subcommittee meeting, we learned that the Commissioner Bellegarde met on site with the Friends of the Res to first establish a location that made sense, and while most of the Friends live in the immediate area, the perfect spot was chosen in a place where high visibility, so that the people can know what is going on and call someone if the site is tampered with. This being a cooperative effort for success, we were informed on the best and correct way to set up a community garden with the expertise of Francie Slater from Mill City Grows. We also learned that there's a community garden rules and regulations that everyone must follow to make this a complete success. The purpose and the goal is to engage with community members in safe food production by way of community gardens and share knowledge and resources. There was a site design presented with plans for fencing surrounding the garden with the goal of 90 beds, 20 plots initially. These would be raised beds. Through the guidelines, we learned quite a bit. We learned that lumber to construct the beds must be untreated, and 10% of the beds must be wheelchair accessible. Gardeners must establish a system to ensure that trash and weeds are removed. There is a permission and release form that one must sign to hold the city harmless. No liability of any kind will be taken on by the city of Lowell, which includes injury, theft, or accidents during occurring in the gardens. We also learned that Commissioner Bellegarde presented this motion and proposal before the Board of Parks, and it was unanimously supported and approved. There was a need for a motion, though, so I'm coming in with a motion with this request, with this report. As a report of progress, along with the city, there is a need for a motion to refer this report as a report of progress along to the city solicitor to draw up the proper vote establishing this area being a portion of McDermott Park as a community garden area and the license agreement for the Friends of the Reservoir. That concludes the report, but I need to make that motion.
Second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Council Mercia, seconded by Councilor Kennedy.
And we need a roll call, and that is, and I got a copy of this report of progress to give to you. so that you can draw up the proper vote, because it actually is an agreement between the city and the Friends to use a portion of that property, so.
Okay, why don't we, first motion by Council Mercia, seconded by Councilor Kennedy, to have the law department draw up the proper vote to include certain parcels of city land at McDermott Park for community gardening.
Which is a license agreement between the city and the Friends of the Reservoir, so that's what it is. So that's the motion.
All those in favor of that motion, you have that, Madam Solicitor?
I have it written
You have
down
the
here
motion
as
as
well.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye, and the opposed, motion carries. Motion to accept the report as a report of progress by Council Samaras, second by Council Belanger. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
This is not a, thank you, Councilor. This is not a subcommittee report, but it was a request by an individual that stopped by my office today, and it's just wanted to make a mention that next week is National Crime Victims' Right Week. On Monday, April 7th, the Merrimack Valley chapter of Parents of Murdered Children will have informational booths set up at the Lowell Senior Center from 5 o'clock to 7 p.m., followed by a candlelight walk to City Hall at 7:30 p.m., where there will be guest speakers. Again, this is not a subcommittee report, but last evening, during the special meeting, we had a discussion relative to this auditor search, and we did ask the Director of Human Resources, Mary Callery, to provide and furnish the council with information on advertisement, and she did furnish or provide a report on everyone's desk on those publications that we placed advertisements the last time. Mary, Ms. Callery, did you want to provide a report or an update, or I think Mary was looking for direction on where to place the advertisements that are not free of charge? Ms. Callery?
I did want direction on if you want to follow these advertisements as we did last time.
Does everybody have a copy of the report? It states the Boston Globe for one day costs $1,300. Lowell Sun, $845.92. Mass Municipal is $185 to put it in the Beacon and on their website. The Mass Municipal Auditors and Accountants Association is free of charge. Massachusetts Government Finances Association is free of charge. Councilor Rourke?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just curious, where does this money come from that we would use to advertise?
There is an advertising budget, but Mr. Manager or Ms. Callery?
I really had to beg, borrow, and steal. Normally, the HR office has an account for advertising, but as you know, we've had so many people, resign and retired. It kind of went downhill. So I did go to different departments, city clerks, auditors, the manager's department, DPD, and
So the money is there to advertise.
it was.
I expect Mary will be making the rounds again.
Okay.
Do you have any idea what the cost was last time to do advertisements for both the city manager and the city auditor search?
The city auditor was like 2,300,
Okay.
closer to 24, and I believe the manager's was pretty much the same.
Okay, thank you. What is the wish of the body? Council Martin?
Well, the 1,300 in the Globe is for how long? Is that one time?
Yes, that was, they advertised it for the 30 days. And I don't think that,
30 days on the website,
right,
right?
yes,
I think
in the
I'll-
paper and on the website. And then we were able to get 2 days out of them for that amount. We kind of negotiate, and they, throw us in a few freebies.
Well, my comment is if we go back to the same sources, why do we think we're going to get different pool? And shouldn't we be looking at some sort of recruiter or agency that does recruiting as opposed to just advertising? 'Cause that has not seemed to serve us well to date.
I think the new publications are clearly the Mass Government Finance Association, but did you also indicate that we did advertise in the Auditors and Accountant Associations last time? Or
Yes.
those two? We did?
We did,
Okay.
yes.
Good point, Counsel. Any other suggestions on locations to advertise? Counsel Belanger?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, one of our colleagues made a good point the other night. Basically, the manager search took a lot of time. The interviews took a long time, and candidates found other positions elsewhere. That won't happen in this case. So I'm hoping, I understand Council Martin's concern. It's a good concern, very genuine, but I think this will serve us well at this point. We'll be able to act accordingly in a timely fashion, and I think we'll get the candidate we're looking for. Thank you.
So we're going to entertain a motion to proceed with this with this advertisement purchase.
Yes.
Motion by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Malinazzo. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed. That motion carries. All set, Ms. Gallery. Thank you. Ms. Gallery, perhaps to Council Martin's point, if there is an organization out there that we may be looking at that does this type of recruitment, perhaps we can bring that forward to the council.
And I did today try to check some different sites, and I'll continue to do that, but I didn't want to waste a lot of time either. And then if I come up with some different sites, I'll send them off to you in an email.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to petitions. There are claims. There are 8 claims for property damage. Entertain a motion to refer to the Law Department for report and recommendations by Council Martin, seconded by Council Samaras. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed. Motion carries. Right. Next item, miscellaneous. Father Jean Tremblay, OMI of St. Joseph the Worker Shrine, 37 Lee Street, requests City Council approval for installation of anniversary banners on 3 city lampposts in the immediate vicinity of the shrine. Father, welcome.
Well, thank you.
And thank you for being patient.
It's nice to move up from the back seats. I usually come to many of the meetings and I just sit in the back to moving up here, and I get to see the beautiful artwork before me. I just want to say Father Jean Tremblay was the one who sent the letter to you, Mr. Mayor, and the City Council. I'm the young priest, the new priest, Father Dwight Hoberex. Really, I'm not that new because I've been in the city of Lowell 3 times. It's my 3rd time. It's great to be presenting this request for petition for St. Joseph the Worker Shrine at 37 Lee Street here in downtown Lowell. We're seeking permission for installation of 3 anniversary banners that we've made to celebrate the 60th anniversary of our being at the shrine, or the designation of St. Joseph as a shrine, which was in 1956. Also marking for the Oblates of Mary Immaculate, an international religious congregation, are working towards our 200th anniversary as a congregation, which we began in 1816 in Aix-en-Provence in France. This evening, I brought before you a sample of the banner that we'd like to. We'd like to install them on 3 city lampposts, 2 that are right in front of St. Joseph the Worker Shrine on Lee Street, and then 1 that's just around the corner on Kirk Street in front of the Garin residence where I live, which is 27 Kirk Street. So we're just seeking your permission, the process to move forward, or hopefully move forward, to place these banners for the next 3 years, marking our time in preparation for the 60th anniversary of St. Joseph the Worker Shrine in downtown Lowell. And it's wonderful to be here in Lowell once again, to be a part of the shrine, and we also like to be as welcoming and promote the city of Lowell where we can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Father. Further discussion from members of the council? Council Martin?
Move to refer to the manager and the law department, prepare the necessary votes, and bring back for council approval.
Motion by Council Martin, second by
Second.
Council Mercia, to refer this to the law department, prepare the proper votes. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Yes.
Father will be back in touch when that vote comes up, but I don't foresee there being a problem.
Okay. Yeah, Father Gene Tremblay's information is on the letter. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 10-3. Miscellaneous, Michael Tembor, Church of the Assemblia de Deus Vita, Assembly of God of Life, 547 Central Street, Lowell, Mass. Requests no parking signs at both sides of the church alleyway entrance. Okay, entertain a motion to refer to the city manager for report and recommendation by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Milanazzo. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion carries. Next item, again, miscellaneous item. UMass Lowell requests City Council support easements, abandonments, and related agreements. I'll read the letter. It's dated to March 28th. Mayor Rodney M. Elliott, members of the Lowell City Council. Dear Mayor Elliott and members of the council, as you're well aware, the University of Massachusetts Lowell is in the midst of a significant expansion of its campus and enrollment. Hopefully, you will share the university's sense that the activity and energy that this growth brings is generally welcomed as a benefit to the city of Lowell. It has also introduced a significant amount of construction activity, which has frequently required extensive coordination and collaboration with city officials. The university has appreciated the attention, support, and assistance that it receives from various departments and their willingness to work to find creative solutions to shared challenges that arise during design and construction. Some of these partnerships have resulted in the need for easements and other related agreements that will need to be formalized and require the authorization of the Lowell City Council. Consequently, the university is hereby petitioning the council to support the following easements, abandonments, and related agreements. First, an easement agreement with respect to sidewalk and landscaping construction, use, and maintenance in the vicinity of the university suites within the right-of-way for Aiken Street. 2, an agreement which establishes and defines maintenance rights and responsibilities to sidewalk areas along Perkins and Aiken Street in the vicinity of university suites. An easement agreement with respect to sidewalk access, lighting, signage, and utilities in the vicinity of University Crossing. An agreement which establishes and defines maintenance responsibilities for lighting, street trees, sidewalks, and other landscaping in the rights-of-way in the vicinity of University Crossing. The abandonment and discontinuance of portions of Danes Avenue that serve only university-owned property and paper rights-of-way within the University Fletcher Street lot. Please refer these matters to the law department so the necessary agreements and votes can be prepared for future consideration. Sincerely, Gene Robinson, Director of Project Management, University of Massachusetts, Lowell. Motion to refer this to the law department to draw the proper vote by Councilor Milanazzo, seconded by Councilor Rourke. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item -10, National Grid / Verizon New England request pole location at 16 Maud Street, excuse me. Motion to refer to a public hearing on April 22nd by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Samaras. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next item on the agenda, under City Council motions. First motion of the night by Councilor Mercia. Request city manager have fire chief supply the council with rules as they apply to open fire pits or the burning of wood, leaves, etc. in open barrels. Second by Councilor Rourke. Council Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I received a few calls. I was surprised that people were calling for the same reason, not knowing one another, but I guess with the good weather coming and people going out, venturing into their yards, seeing that branches and twigs and things fell from the tree into their yard, they're throwing these things into a barrel and they're lighting it on fire to get rid of it, and I don't think that's the proper way to do it. They're creating smoke in people's homes, and people are upset, wondering, do they have a right to do that? Did they pull a permit and it allowed that to happen? So I kind of asked, and the state law says, not the city of Lowell, but the state law says that no outside burning shall take effect in any major city. Lowell is a major city. There is no process or ordinance that says that you can get a permit and start a fire in a barrel or an open pit like that. You cannot do that. So I more or less use this motion as a means of bringing forth the rules. In fact, I'm still asking this to be referred to the Chief Pitter. I had the pleasure of speaking to a wonderful Deputy Fire Chief Mulligan this evening, and I reiterated if what I thought was true, and he said, yes, it is true. There's no ordinance that says that you can pull a permit to create a fire. It happened quite frequently on my street. We have woods in the back. On a windy day, one of the people tore down a porch and started burning the wood in the barrel, and it shot up to like the second story if there was a building there. It's very dangerous. It's a very scary process, and I know that other people have felt the same way as I did because they called and said what they asked me. So I made this motion so I could publicly say that you cannot have a barrel and open it up and start burning debris like that. You just can't do that. I believe that the yard waste collection has started already as of March 31st. So if you have all these tree limbs and branches and stuff, and leaves, don't burn it in your yard and aggravate your neighbors. Put it in a barrel and put it out on your trash day. So that's why I'm saying that. And another thing that we can remember that Chief Pitter said as well when he was up here, I know that the big box stores like Home Depot and Lowe's sell the open fire pits. They're really like against the law in the city of Lowell to be burning that. But we're more or less concerned about the big debris things that are going on in barrels and stuff. So just for those people listening that don't know the rules, these are the rules, and I'd like to verify it by referring it to the Chief Pitter and having him put it in writing so we can see that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Mr. Manager?
If I could, Mr. Mayor, I agree with you, Councilor. There's no question that it's not legal to do in the city of Lowell, and I think that the issue should be that we've got to get some public awareness out there, and maybe through LTC post a public service announcement to say, listen, it defies logic why anyone would actually do what your suggestion that's done, and it has been done, but I think people need to be educated that.
And if the wind blows just right and that smoke is going into your home, oh my God, there's people with allergies to this, so it's not
Even the more critical thing is the fire could
There you
spread as
go.
well. So
Thank you.
maybe a public service to LTC, just hey, listen.
Thank you.
It's funny that we have to do it, but I think we do.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. In the opposed?
Mr. Mayor, I wonder if I
Councilor
can,
Belanger?
to the maker of the motion, if I may amend the motion and add, to include the code, including the fireworks ordinance, because I think a couple of members of the council did receive emails in neighborhoods that entering this season, we should maybe come up a little awareness, so I think now's the time to address it, if it's no problem with the maker of the motion, include a
No-
fireworks
no
ordinance
problem.
too, at the same
Fine.
time. I think that'd be appropriate. Thank you.
Motion by Councilor Belanger, seconded by Councilor Rourke to amend Council Mercier's motion to have the fire chief also supply the council with rules and regulations that they apply not only to open fire pits and burning of wood, leaves, etc., but also fireworks. All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye, and the opposed. Motion carries. On the original motion, motion was made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed. Motion carries. Next motion of the night by Councilor Rourke, request city manager report on code violations at 1291 Barnum Avenue concerning greenhouse/airplane hangar. Second on the motion, seconded by Councilor Mercier. Councilor Rourke?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Father's motion, some of the Pawtucketville citizens had called, curious with an update on that violation. This all started back June 2013 when the first fine went out. I believe the ordinance had called for up to $300 a day on a daily fine. So, quick addition, it's about $80,000. I did receive an email from Mr. Slago from the city that stated that so far the city has fined the residents $7,300. So I think the city has been more than fair with the owner of the property. So just curious to see what's going on, what problem solving can be done to fix this violation, and respond to the citizens of Pawtucketville. Thank you.
Madam Solicitor?
Sure. Eric Slagle and I have been in discussions about that property, and Development Services has been staying on top of the fines, and soon those fines are going to be added to the tax bill. So likely that will garner the attention of the property owner quickly.
Yeah, I believe that's a little bit more leverage there, and I think all the appeals have been exhausted in terms of for the property owner's perspective.
That's right. There are no avenues at this point for appeals. So the notices have been going out. They haven't been appealed. No action's been taken, and the fines continue to mount. So at this point, there is no remedy other than to pay that amount of money.
Is there any point in time where the city can actually remove the greenhouse?
Determinations would have to be made by the building department as to grounds for doing that, but that's certainly a potential option out there.
Thank you.
So could I just follow up, Madam Solicitor? So this is going to be part of their tax bill, and if the taxes are not paid, then the city proceeds with
The taking.
the taking? Okay. All set, Councilor? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. In the opposed, motion carries. Next item. Next item by Councilor Rourke, 11.3. Request city manager have the parking director update the council on parking revenues from Father Morissette Boulevard. Seconded by Councilor Samaras. Councilor Rourke?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The last Economic Development Subcommittee meeting, I believe Councilor Kennedy had asked Mr. Troop about the revenue from those meters. He expects those numbers to be very low. So when this report does come in, the idea would be maybe the city could look out for different ways to utilize those spots, whether it be to subbing it out to a business or to someone maybe it would pay a monthly fee or some sort of way for the city to make some money back on something that doesn't look like it's working right now.
I think you're correct, Councilor. I think the report's going to be less than impressive, according to Mr. Troop. So there are other avenues that they've started to look at already, and there are some avenues that we can go down, and I think they'll be beneficial in the long run. But we'll get the report for you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Councilor Belanger?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's a good motion by Councilor Rourke. Yes, at that economic development meeting, Jim Troop was asked by Councilor Kennedy how things are going, how income is doing over there, and the answer was not good. And it comes as no surprise. I'm in the area once, sometimes 2, 3 times a day, and I can count on one hand how many times I've seen and that vehicles there, and that's only been a car or 2. So I think this is far, far below projection, unfortunately. It was originated, I believe, from the demand from the Warner-Lancet Mills desire in parking, but that hasn't panned out for some strange reason. And also Songus Arena events and Lowell Spinner games. But meter maids don't go out after 4 o'clock, and these events are typically at night, so that makes no sense. So I don't know how we got to that point, but it needs to be looked at. Let's take a look, see what we're taking in, and then what solution may be. How you get cars to park there that don't currently now is beyond me. I have no idea how you do that, but nonetheless, let's take a look and see what we're taking in for revenue, and we'll go from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And a related aspect, Council, next week there's going to be in your package some information regarding the consultant work that could be done with the NIGRAM group, so there'll be some information forthcoming on next week.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next motion tonight by Council Kennedy and myself. Request that any RFPs, if there's no objection, I think we should probably take both of these motions together. Very similar motions, if not identical. Motion by Councilor Kennedy and Mayor Elliott, request that any RFPs for the school department administration office space include preference for the above street level in the central business district. Second, not needed. Second motion by Council Belanger and Council Milonazo, request that as school department moves forward with the search for administration offices, that consideration be given to boost downtown economic development. On the motion, Council Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The motion, the first motion, and you're right, both motions are very similar. But the motion that you and I filed was as a result of a conversation that you had about the RFP that's anticipated from the school department for school space. And so the thought behind this motion was that rather than to have the mayor carry the ball alone with the school committee, that it would be better if there was a council vote supporting having that RFP give a preference to space, office space in the central business district above retail. And above retail, I think, is an important component for a couple of reasons. One, because it would be cheaper space, but also because it leaves the first floor retail level alone, so it would be office space above the second, above the first floor. And so that's the gist of the motion. And I think it's important. I think it could really, certainly the central business district would benefit from having a large number of office workers in the downtown every day.
Thank you, Councilor. Council Belanger, then Council Milonazo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is somewhat repetitive. Council Milonazo and I still thought it was important to go forward with, due to the importance of this, we feel is to be hopefully located in the downtown. But I have a few interesting points here. In Sunday's Boston Globe was an article about a very blighted downtown Roxbury. It's called Dudley Square. It's suffered from urban blight. It was once a vibrant downtown, much like ours. They just are going to relocate their Boston Public School administrative offices right in this building that is set for redevelopment, right in this area, because this is where it's needed most. That's what they're doing. So I just read that article Sunday, and I think that bears mentioning. Another point I'd like to make is that I had a discussion today with Frankie Dakota, former city councilor, owner of the now out-of-business Mambo Grill, and she stressed the importance of that administrative office, how crucial it was for those businesses there on Merrimack Street. And basically, when that vacated, she saw her business decline firsthand. So it was very, very important. I don't know specifically where this could go at this time, but whatever is within our rights to steer this towards a downtown, I think it's in the best interest to do that for all the businesses. Boston is doing it. I think the city needs to lead by example in this. So through you, Mr. Mayor, to the solicitor, where are we with the RFP process, Madam Solicitor, if I may?
Actually, I'm not quite certain where it is, but we can certainly look into that and get back to the council on it.
Madam Solicitor, I get that one. So I'm going to ask Council Mercer to come up, but I have some information on that.
Okay.
All set, Councilor?
Yep,
Okay.
that's good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Council Milonazo, and then Council Mercia, if you could take the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, just to follow what both Council Belanger and Council Kennedy said, I just think it would be just so important to get the school administrative offices back in the downtown. There's a number, obviously, employees that actually do have disposable income to spend in our stores and restaurants, and it's just so important, as Council Belanger and Council Kennedy said, to try to have the RFP focus or give preference to Central Business District, especially the second, third, fourth floors of buildings in the downtown. So both are good motions, and I think would certainly benefit the Central Business District. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mayor Elliott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just on the RFP, Council Belanger and other members of the council, I did speak with Mr. Lang today, and he told me that the information has been forwarded to the purchasing department, and the RFP is in the final stages of being drafted and will be actually posted tomorrow. The Central Register notice has already been placed, and he did. He just forwarded me an email before the meeting. So it's going to be released tomorrow, and he will forward a copy as soon as that is done by the purchasing department. The responses are due by Friday, May 2nd. They're looking for approximately 40,000 square feet to be located in the city of Lowell. Centralized location on a transportation route is preferred. The request indicates they're looking for 4,500 square feet. Should be located on the street level because that's going to be for the Family Resource Center where students go to enroll. And then the remaining 35,000 plus feet will be on the second floor off the street level. Some of the office space is going to be needed immediately to vacate space at the Rogers School because that space is going to be needed for classrooms for this coming school season. So that's the criteria that he forwarded me that's included in the RFP, and as soon as I get it, I will forward it to members of the city council. I guess it was important for him, he indicated, to get this advertisement, this RFP out at any point in time during this time period. It can be amended as well. So that's the information that I received from the school department.
Thank you, Mayor Elliott. Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Through you to the mayor, could you, do you think maybe you could ask the school department to notify all the property owners in the Central Business District that that's included in the RFP, and just to make them aware so that there could be a property owner that maybe wouldn't know that this opportunity might be available to them? And so that might help things. Other than that, and I don't know how many buildings there are down there that could accommodate that, but there's certainly more than 2 or 3, I think. And so, but they may not notice that. So if we could do that too, just to kind of, I think that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Makes sense. I'll let Mr. Lang and the superintendent know that tomorrow.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the first motion by Councilor Belanger and Councilor Kennedy and Mayor Elliott signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Next motion by Councilor Belanger and Councilor Milonazo. All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next motion by Mayor Elliott. Request the city manager report on marketing/advertising costs, media outlets, vendors, and consultants used to promote the city. Seconded by Councilor Belanger. Mayor Elliott.
Sorry, thank you, Mayor Mercy. Mercy is just still the way that I remember it. The motion really speaks for itself. We had, I thought, a lot of discussion through the interview process on the aspects of marketing and the importance of it. So I wanted to get an idea as to how much we spend and who is responsible for it and those outlets that we're spending the money. So just a general report. We even heard discussion about it tonight. So I think it's important for us to get an understanding on how that process works and moving forward, how we can improve it with the limited funds that we have. So that's the motion. Thank you.
Any discussion? All those in, Councilor Belanger?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's a good motion, Mayor Elliott. No two ways about it. It's good to get an exact breakdown. I think we all think that it's inadequate, whatever the proper spending is in each department. The marketing is not where it should be, but let's get a gauge on it, see where we're at, then we'll need to know better than where we need to be. So I think it's a good motion. I support it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. All those are opposed, motion passes. Thank you. Mayor Elliott?
Can't do anything without the glasses. Thank you, Council Marcia. Next item is City Council executive session. Council Marcia, did you have something before executive session?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to suspend the rules just to give a point of information on the astronaut that's coming in this week. So,
Motion to suspend the rules by Councilor Belanger, seconded by Councilor
thank you,
Kennedy.
Mr.
All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for a point of information, I feel it worthy to report, visiting our city on Thursday, the 3rd, and Friday, the 4th of April this week will be NASA astronaut Christopher Cassidy, nephew of school committee man David Conway, and his aunt Mary Conway, her brother's son. So this is Mary Conway's nephew as well. For 10 years, he was a United States Navy SEAL, awarded the Bronze Star with Combat V, awarded a second Bronze Star for Combat Leadership Service in Afghanistan, recipient of the NASA Exceptional Achievement Medal. Astronaut Cassidy will visit the McAuliffe, Lowell High School, and the Sullivan School, UMass Lowell, City Hall, and Middlesex Community College, a great partnership with education. They're embracing his visit. From 2006 to 2008, Mr. Cassidy served as a capsule commander in mission control. During his NASA career, astronaut Cassidy completed 6 spacewalks totaling 31 hours and accumulated 185 days in space. He spent 6 months in the space station. We are all honored to have him visit our city, and I wanted to share that with the public. We're very happy he'll be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. There will be a reception in the mayor's reception room first thing in the morning for, correct, anyone that wants to attend?
Not tomorrow morning.
No, I'm sorry, Thursday.
Thursday, right.
Thank you. Next item is City Council and executive session. And the purpose of this executive session would be regarding pending litigation, public discussion of which could have a detrimental effect on the city's position. Following this executive session, the City Council will adjourn. Further discussion? Councilor Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to know, is there any sort of a meeting at all with the public concerning this Anel issue? I'm understanding, is there a meeting at 6:30 on Wednesday in the mayor's reception room? I don't know. I don't know if there's a meeting or there isn't a meeting, and I'm telling people there is, then there isn't, so I don't know. I don't know where we're standing. I don't want to give people the wrong information, and I hope they're watching at this point.
Okay. Councilor Rourke, as the chairman of the flood subcommittee?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
It's not a flood subcommittee
It
meeting.
is not, no. I did have a conversation with the solicitor sometime last week with the idea of, after tonight's executive session, we would sit down with those residents that are most affected by the flood zone next to, with what Anel is trying to do. So I was under the understanding that's going to happen tomorrow at 6:30 at the mayor's reception room. I understand that the manager has rearranged the schedule of the rooms to accommodate that meeting. If something has changed, I'm glad we're talking about it now. So as far as I was concerned, we have a meeting tomorrow night, 6:30 at the mayor's reception room.
Madam Solicitor, you good with that?
That's fine, and wherever we are on this particular issue, we can certainly have a discussion, and any sort of questions and concerns that people might have, we can hear those sooner rather than later as we move forward in this process.
So it is on.
I guess it'll be on.
Okay, I'll have to notify all those 5 people that I told them it wasn't on, that it now is on. Okay, that's fine.
So tomorrow night, in the reception room, there's just an informational session for those individuals affected by, essentially in the floodplain that'll be affected by this Crestgate issue. Council Mercer?
Now, here's a good way for a good partnership to start right here. With the Sun newspaper, Lyle could inform and reiterate that this meeting will take place tomorrow at 6:30 in the mayor's reception room. Anybody affected? Oh, thank you very much. That'd be good. Where will the Board of Health meet now?
I believe they'll be in the manager's reception room.
In the manager's reception. Okay, so you could put that down as well. There you go.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Martin?
I was just going to say, make sure to say the time. So
Right.
it's 6:30.
6:30.
6:30? Okay, thank you. Roll call on the motion to go into executive session.
Counselor Kennedy?
Yes.
Counselor Leahy? Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Rourke?
Yes.
Counselor Samaras?
Yes.
Counselor Belanger?
Yes.
Mayor Elliott?
Yes.
8 yeas.
8 yeas, 1 absent, motion carries. Council will recess into executive session and then adjourn from the executive session. Thank you. Have a good night.
Yes, Lyle. Yes.